Welcome dear friends to my video lecture on TRB education or net education, higher order questions and also descriptive questions for TRB education student, PGTRB education student. So part A and paper 1 and paper 2 descriptive answers. How descriptive answers will be given? Normally memory based, understanding based in the first paper. Part A, that, Tamil and the GK, one part. The part B will be descriptive answers based on memory based and understanding based, questions, right? That is what is given in the syllabus. And in the second paper fully devoted to education, their higher order questions, part A, higher order questions, and part B, all descriptive questions. So once again, higher order. That is, higher order means what? Analysis questions on analysis questions, comprehension questions. It will come here. Analysis questions, synthesis question, evaluation questions. All these questions will be coming in part B of second paper. I hope you understood all this. Something new for me anyway, but then I have gone through that and I am telling you, you will be well versed in the syllabus pattern and everything. But whatever it may be, in this video lecture, I have started giving the entire thing, all memory based, understanding based questions, all critical questions, analysis, synthesis, application based questions, along with the descriptive questions, memory based descriptive questions, critical question. In other words, analysis, synthesis, problem solving, evaluation type of descriptive questions. So everything will be in one box like. This will be very helpful for you, those who are preparing for TRB, PGTRB. For net students, only objective questions. Of course, you will be also very much helped to go through everything, and the net students also will be very much helped. So God bless you abundantly. Let us straight away enter into the topic. Yeah, right. Relationship between policies and education. So the part B syllabus I am giving. Relationship between policy and education, linkage between educational policy and national development, determinants of educational policy and process of policy formulation. There we come across different stages: analysis of the existing situation, generation of policy options, evaluation of policy options, making the policy decision, planning of policy implementation, policy impact assessment, and subsequent policy cycles. So, with regard to relationship between policies and education, what could be the question? Memory-based question. What is educational policy? It's a memory-based question. Simply a fact. And educational policy is a set of principles and government guidelines that shape the education system, right? So, you understood that. Which factors influence the educational policies? Social, economic, political, cultural, and technological factors affect educational policies, no doubt. And name any two major educational policies in India. Of course, all these things are all children's question, like, National Policy on Education 1986, updated in 2020, now 2020. So that way we can say. Right to Education Act 2009. No, so they asked us to give two educational policies, and we have given 2 years. How do policies affect access to education? They ensure inclusivity, equity, and quality in education. This is how they affect education. Who formulates educational policies in India? Ministry of Education and associate committees. These are all memory-based questions, right? What is the role of UNESCO in educational policy? UNESCO provides a global guidelines and promotes an inclusive education. Right. What is the impact of educational policies on teacher training? They define training standards and curriculum. these educational policies define training standards and curriculum teacher education. Which educational policy introduced 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure in India, that is New Education Policy 2020, NEP 2020. What is the significance of free and compulsory education policies? That is, they ensure education for all children, reducing illiteracy. So that is the idea. What is the main goal of educational policies? To improve education quality, access and equity. So this is the main goal of educational policies, to improve education quality, access and equity. Right. Understanding based questions. Understanding based questions. How the little above, no? Memory based, very simple. They may not be asking you, I'm sure. How does education policy reflect a country's socio-economic goals? It aligns education with the employment needs, economic growth, and social progress. This is how education policy reflects the country's socio-economic goals. So it aligns education with the employment needs, economic growth, and social progress. Why should education policies be regularly updated? To adapt to new social, technological, and economic changes. To adapt to new social, technological, and economic changes. What are the consequences of poor educational policies? Poor quality education, poor education, inequality, and unemployment. Unemployment. These are the consequences of poor educational policies. No doubt about it. How does globalization impact educational policy? It promotes international education standards and skills for a global workforce. So we are able to compete with other countries, in terms of competencies, etc. So globalization promotes international education standards and skills for global workforce. What challenges do policymakers face in implementing education policies? Funding shortages, infrastructure issues, and resistance to change. These are all the challenges policymakers face in implementing education policies. Funding shortages, infrastructure issues, and resistance to change. Now, we are going for what you call critical questions: analysis, synthesis, and evaluation type of questions. In this area, what can be asked, right? How do educational policies primarily influence the structure of an education system? Right? By different alternative, by shaping curriculum assessment method, by determining teacher recruitment only, by enforcing student attendance without quality concerns, by focusing only on higher education policies. So which is the right one? That is by shaping curriculum and assessment method. This is how educational policies primarily influence the structure of an education system. That is by shaping curriculum and assessment methods. Right. So educational policies dictate curriculum frameworks, assessment strategies, and teacher qualifications, ultimately shaping the education system's structure. Right. Now, with regard to linkage between educational policy and national development, what question you could ask at the higher level? Which of the following best describes the role of educational policy in national development? There are 4 things given. So, we have marked A. Why? Let's see. Ensuring economic growth by developing human capital. That is the idea here. Which of the following best describes the role of educational policy in national development? Ensuring economic growth by developing human capital. That is the idea here. A strong educational policy promotes skill development, innovation, and economic productivity, leading to national progress. Now, let us talk about determinants of education policy. Which factor has the most significant influence on shaping educational policy? That is socio-economic conditions. Socio-economic conditions shape the accessibility, funding, and priorities of an education system, influencing policy direction. Right. Then process of policy formulation. analysis of the existing situation. So what question you could ask with regard to higher order skills? What is the primary purpose of analyzing the existing educational situation before policy formulation? Right? To identify gaps and to identify gaps and the challenges in the system. That is the purpose. Yes. You know, uh, right. A thorough analysis of educational system helps in identifying gaps, ensuring that new policies effectively address existing problems or existing issues. Now, with regard to generation of policy option, it is in the syllabus only. Why is it necessary to generate multiple policy options during formulation? Right? Why is it necessary to generate multiple policy options during formulations? That is different comparing to compare different policy options. So comparing different policy options ensures that the most effective and feasible choice is implemented. Among the best choices, one is selected. That is the idea. Comparing different policy options ensures that the most effective and feasible, most possible choice is implemented. So, with regard to evaluation of policy options, what method is commonly used to evaluate policy options? Which method? Is it cost benefit analysis, random guessing, following public opinion, or ignoring long term effects? Certainly, cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis helps assess the feasibility and impact of different policies. Yeah, whether we have to take this policy or not depends upon the cost, how much allocation of the budget is there. Depending on that, you have to implement certain policy. We can think of so many policies, but is it feasible according to the expenditure that we have to see? That is why cost benefit analysis. So cost benefit analysis helps assess the feasibility and impact of different policies. With regard to policy impact assessment, what question you can ask? What is the purpose of policy impact assessment? That is to measure the effectiveness of policy implementation. To measure the effectiveness of policy implementation. That means what? We are implementing the policy, but how far it is effective, whether it is aligned with the goals of our policy, like that. So we have to measure the effectiveness of policy implementation. That is the purpose of policy impact assessment. Right. Now we are going for very important question, descriptive question. Descriptive questions in two styles. Some questions will be based on memory and understanding. So that is in paper 1, you will be getting such questions. In paper 2, you will be getting another set of questions, mostly critical questions. In other words, analysis, synthesis, evaluation question. I have given both. I have given both here, right? Just both. It's a models only. I don't claim that this is the best answer for you or not, but in my opinion, this is the best answer. Okay. If you are interested, you are most welcome to take down. You can just take down the points and then write it for yourself. You give the answer in your words, everything you do. But I want to give certain models, right, with the questions. Explain the relationship between policies and education. Policies and education share a deeply interconnected and a reciprocal relationship. Educational policies serve as a guiding framework that shapes the structure, development, and implementation of educational systems. At the same time, education plays a crucial role in influencing policy formulation by identifying and addressing social, economic, and political needs. A clear understanding of this interrelationship is essential for designing and implementing policies that foster national progress, social equity, and economic development. So, what could be, important points here, with regard to this question, that is, relationship between policies and education. What are the important ideas here? That is the main one. Definition of policy and education. A policy is a systematic set of principles and guidelines designed to direct decision making and ensure rational and effective outcomes in governance, administration, and institutional functioning. What is education? Education is a structured process that facilitates learning, knowledge acquisition, attainment, skill development, and intellectual growth, preparing individuals for personal and societal advancement. How policies shape education. The second point, educational policies play a crucial role in shaping the functioning and effectiveness of the education system. They influence various aspects, including defining educational objectives and curriculum. Policies determine the goals of education, the subjects to be taught, and the methods of instruction. This is how we define the educational objectives and curriculum. Then regulating funding and resource allocation. Government policies allocate the financial resources to educational institutions, ensuring infrastructure development, teacher salaries, and student welfare schemes. Then setting guidance for teacher recruitment and training. Policies establish eligibility criteria, training standards, and professional development programs to enhance teaching quality. Then enhancing accessibility and inclusivity. Educational policies aim to bridge social and economic disparities by promoting inclusive education for marginalized and differently abled students. How education influences policy? So you see the different points of how I am arguing. No? Just to write down the points and then say it for yourself. You formulate some ideas and then speak to yourself or write yourself. No? That way you can have a practice. How education influences policy? Education in turn plays a significant role in shaping policy decisions. Its influence can be seen in the following ways. Identifying social and economic needs. Educational research and data analysis help policymakers understand evolving societal demands and workforce requirements. Then serving as a tool for advocacy and decision making. An educated society actively participates in policy formulation, advocating for reforms and improvements in governance. Then fostering awareness and political engagement. Education empowers citizens with knowledge, enhancing their ability to engage in democratic processes and demand effective policies. Some examples we can give. Examples of educational policies and their impact. Right to Education Act, India, 2009 is one example. This landmark policy ensured free and compulsory education for children aged 6 to 14, reducing dropout rates and improving literacy levels. No child left behind. NCLB Act, USA, that is an USA 2001. Here also we were having in a different form. Focused on accountability and standardized testing to enhance education quality, though it also sparked debates on its effectiveness and impact on student learning. So, as concluding remarks, what can you give? The relationship between education and policy is dynamic and mutually reinforcing. Each is dependent on the other, in other words. Well-structured policies ensure the effective delivery of education, while an educated society influences and refines policy making. By fostering quality education through sound policies, nations can achieve sustainable development, social cohesion, and economic growth, ultimately shaping a prosperous future for generations to come. I hope you understood it. This is how you'll formulate the questions, right? Now, education policy and national development. Discuss the linkage between educational policy and national development. This could be another question. Educational policies play a pivotal role in shaping the progress of a nation by fostering human resource development, ensuring economic stability, and promoting social advancement. A well-structured educational policy serves as a blueprint for equipping citizens with the necessary knowledge, skills, and values required to contribute effectively to different sectors. By aligning education with the national aspirations, a country can cultivate a workforce that drives sustainable growth and innovation. So, in the main body, these ideas we can give. Definition and importance of educational policy. Educational policy refers to a set of principles, laws, and regulations that govern an education system. It provides a structural framework for educational planning and implementation, ensuring that learning institutions operate efficiently and effectively. The significance of educational policy lies in its ability to establish a coherent vision for educational development, to align education with the national priorities such as economic growth, social equity, and cultural preservation, to ensure equal access to quality education for all citizens, thereby reducing inequalities. How educational policy contributes to national development. A well formulated educational policy contributes to national development in multiple dimensions. Economic growth. By enhancing skills and competencies, education fuels industrial and technological advancements. A knowledgeable and skilled workforce attracts investment, increases productivity, and boosts the nation's economic performance. Then, social development. Education fosters literacy, awareness, and social cohesion. It promotes values such as tolerance, gender equality, and inclusivity, which are essential for a harmonious society. Then it is helpful for political stability. Educated citizens are more likely to participate in governance, understand their rights, and contribute to policy making processes, thus strengthening democratic institutions. Then innovation and research. A robust educational system encourages scientific inquiry, technological innovation, and entrepreneurial ventures, all of which drive national progress and global competitiveness. So, this thing. Another point you will give examples of educational policy driving development. Several countries have demonstrated how strong educational policies can lead to national prosperity. For an example, Finland's education system. Finland's emphasis on teacher quality, equity, and student-centered learning has resulted in consistently high educational outcomes. The nation's approach to education fosters creativity, problem-solving skills, and overall human development. India's National Education Policy (NEP) 2020. This policy introduces a holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary education system. It aims to enhance foundational literacy and numeracy, integrate vocational education, and promote research and innovation, aligning India's education system with global standards. Challenges in linking educational policy and national development, another important point. Despite the potential of educational policies to drive national development, several challenges hinder their effective implementation. Insufficient funding. Many countries allocate inadequate resources to education, leading to poor infrastructure, lack of learning materials, and underpaid educators. Then policy implementation gaps. Even well-designed policies face setbacks due to bureaucratic inefficiencies, lack of coordination among stakeholders, and resistance to change. Then socioeconomic disparities, unequal access to education due to financial constraints, geographic location, or social discrimination prevents marginalized communities from benefiting fully from educational policies. So, what remarks you can give in the conclusion? A well-structured educational policy is the cornerstone of national development, fostering economic growth, social justice, and technological advancement. However, the effectiveness of such policies depends on the successful implementation, adequate funding, and inclusive approach. By addressing existing challenges and ensuring continuous improvements, nations can harness the true power of education as a transformative force for long-term prosperity and progress. Of course, that question is over. What is the linkage between educational policy and the national development? That is the question we have. Now, discuss the linkage between educational policy and national development. Linkage, how it is connected. Educational policies are instrumental in shaping national development by fostering human resource growth, economic stability, and social progress. A well structured educational policy ensures that a nation produces skilled citizens who contribute to various sectors. So in the main body, we can write these things. Definition, importance of educational policy. It provides a structured framework for educational development. It aligns education with the national goals. So the educational policy aligns education with the national goals. How educational policy contributes to national development through economic growth. So educational policy enhances skills for industry and technological advancements. It is for social development. It promotes literacy, awareness, and equality. Then political stability. Educated citizens engage in governance and policy making. Then innovation and research encourages this educational policy encourages scientific progress and technological breakthroughs. Now, what examples you could give? Examples of educational policy driving development. Once again, Finland's education system emphasis on teacher quality and equity leads to high educational outcomes. Then India's NEP 2020, it focuses on holistic, flexible and multidisciplinary education. Now, what are the challenges in linking educational policy and national development? Insufficient funding for education, policy implementation gaps, socio-economic disparities affecting access to education. Finally, conclusion. A well-structured educational policy is the foundation of national development, ensuring economic prosperity, social justice and innovation. Effective implementation is crucial for long-term success. This is how you end the answer, end the descriptive answer. It's so effective. So you give the salient features of education policy which you have studied above, and then give 1 or 2 points and then finish it. This is very important. No? That type of importance you must give to it. In the conclusion part, it should be there. I hope you understood this. You write down all the subheadings and then try to formulate your own sentences. You write in your own sentences and see for yourself how far you can do this. So your success depends on that, right? Finally, you have to write so legibly in the paper. So you have to see this. So it is a test for you. Now take down all the subheading and then write an essay based on these subheadings. This is how you can develop your skills in writing. Of course, conclusion, a well-structured educational policy is the foundation of national development, ensuring economic prosperity, social justice, and innovation. Effective implementation is crucial for long-term success. Now we go for the third question. This is, in a way, we can say this is a higher order question. Analyze the determinants of educational policy. So there are determinants and you are giving the implication also. Analysis means not only you are giving the facts, you have to analyze how far it is helpful today or not, and what is the impact of this educational policy, especially these factors of educational policy on modern education, how far we have developed, growth. How far we have noticed growth in our educational efforts. All these things we have to analyze. So analyze the determinants of educational policy. Educational policies play a crucial role in shaping the future of a nation by determining the structure, content, and objectives of the education system. These policies are influenced by various determinants, including social, economic, political, and technological factors. A comprehensive understanding of these determinants helps policymakers design inclusive and effective educational framework that cater to the diverse needs of society. This analysis explores the key determinants that influence educational policy formulation and implementation. So this is how you will write in the introduction. Yes, right? I hope you understood this introduction part. What is the question? Analyzing the determinants of educational policy. You talk about various determinants and then give how far it is going to be helpful to something like modern education. Now, what are the determinants of educational policy? Social determinants. Social factors significantly impact educational policies as they reflect the demographic and cultural composition of a nation. These include literacy rates and public awareness. The level of literacy in a country determines the focus of educational policies. Higher literacy rates often lead to advanced curricula, while lower rates may necessitate policies emphasizing basic education and adult literacy programs. I hope you understood this. So, literacy rates and public awareness also have an impact in the as the social determinant of educational policy, right? Now, next one, cultural diversity. Yes. Next one, cultural diversity and language policy. Multilingual societies require policies that promote linguistic inclusivity, such as bilingual education and mother tongue instruction to enhance learning outcomes. Social stratification and equity in education. Next one, educational policy must address disparities among different social groups by promoting equal opportunities, scholarships, and reservation policies for marginalized communities. Then economic determinants. Economic factors play a vital role in shaping educational policies as financial resources dictate the quality and accessibility of education. Key economic determinants include budget allocation for education. Governments must allocate sufficient funds for the infrastructure, teacher training, research, and digital education to ensure a robust education system. Then employment trends and industry requirements. Policies should align with the evolving job market by incorporating vocational training and skill development programs to enhance employability. Then government investment in research and innovation. Encouraging research institutions and universities to contribute to national development through innovation and technological advancement is a critical policy focus. Then political determinant, political stability, governance structures significantly influence educational policy formulation and implementation. Major political determinants include government ideology and policy priorities. Different political ideologies shape education policies, emphasizing aspects such as privatization, nationalistic education, or public education reforms. Political stability and governance structures. Stable governance ensures the continuity of policies, whereas frequent policy shifts due to political changes can disrupt educational progress. Then the influence of international organizations. Global organizations like UNESCO, the World Bank, and UNICEF provide financial and strategic support for educational initiatives influencing national policies on literacy, gender equality, and technological integration. Then another type of determinant will be technological and global determinants in formulating educational policy. Technological and global determinants. In an increasingly interconnected world, technological advancements and globalization impact education policies in very, very important ways. Digitalization of education. Government must integrate digital learning tools, online resources, and smart classrooms into educational policies to enhance accessibility and effectiveness. So, digitalization of education. Then, global educational trends and competition. Policies must align with international standards to ensure that students remain competitive in the global job market. So, global educational trends and competition. Then, influence of international educational policy. Many countries adapt to successful educational models from developed nations, incorporating best practices to improve their own education system. This is how we talk about technological and global determinants in the formulation of educational policy. Now, challenges in addressing determinants. Despite well-intended policies, several challenges arise in addressing these determinants. This is the analysis part actually. You know, we are given the facts, now we are analyzing, yes. This is how analyzing, a question on analysis will come. I mean, in other words, analysis question will come. So, challenges in addressing determinants. So far, we are given so many determinants. Now, what are the challenges? Despite well-intended policies, several challenges arise in addressing these determinants effectively. Balancing economic constraints with the educational needs, ensuring adequate funding while managing budget limitations is a persistent challenge for policymakers. Managing cultural and linguistic diversity, another aspect here. another aspect of the challenge, another challenge in a way, right? Managing cultural and linguistic diversity, creating inclusive education policies that respect and integrate diverse cultural backgrounds without marginalization remains a complex, it becomes a complex task. Then aligning policy with the changing technological advancements. The rapid evolution and technology requires continuous policy updates to incorporate new learning methodologies and tools. So these are the points we will be giving here. As concluding remarks, what can you say? Educational policies are shaped by multiple interrelated factors, necessitating a balanced and adaptive approach to ensure their long-term effectiveness. A well-structured policy framework should consider social equity, economic feasibility, political stability, and technological advancements to provide quality education for all. By addressing these determinants proactively, policymakers can create an inclusive and dynamic education system that fosters a national development and global competitiveness. I hope you understood this. Now, the next question, higher order question will be this. Analyze the determinants of educational policy. So I think this is what we have done it, maybe in a different, no. What I have given here is the summary. In order to have the practice, the same thing I have given in summary form, so that you go through that again and then write it down for yourself. For that reason, I attempted what you call the summary form for the above answer. So, for this analyzing determinants of education policy, this is the summary. Education policies are influenced by various determinants, including social, economic, political, and cultural factors. Understanding these determinants helps policymakers design effective educational frameworks. Now, you can keep these things in memory so that you are able to write very fast. Keep this in mind. Like that, you must write down all the important ideas and then put it together, and put it in your mind also. So, what are the various determinants that we know? But within the social determinant, what are the important points that you write down? The subheading you write down, and then try to expand it in your own words. So, in a way, this is a test for you. So, social determinants, literacy rates and public awareness, cultural diversity and language policies, I already expanded it. Just go through that and then write in your own words. Then social stratification and equity in education. With regard to economic determinants, budget allocation for education, employment trends and industry requirements, government investment in research and innovation. With regard to political determinants, government ideology and policy priorities, political stability and governance structures, influence of international organizations, UNESCO, World Bank, etc. Then technological and global determinants, digitalization of education, global educational trends and competition, influence of international educational policies. Now, challenges in addressing determinants, balancing economic constraints with the educational needs, managing cultural and linguistic diversity, another challenge, and aligning policy with changing technological advancement. You can expand these points. You can keep these points in mind. When the question comes, you will be able to write very nicely. Yes. As concluding remark, you can give this. Educational policies are shaped by multiple factors, requiring a balanced approach to ensure inclusivity and long-term effectiveness. Now, the fourth question will be explain the process of policy formulation in education. In other words, steps. What are the steps in the policy formulation in education? What could you give as the introductory remarks? Policy formulation in education is a systematic process that ensures the development of effective and adaptable educational policies. It involves multiple stages from identifying educational needs to evaluating and refining policies based on their impact. A well structured policy formulation process helps address emerging challenges and ensures that education systems remain relevant and efficient. What are the stages of policy formulation? That is analysis of the existing situation. That is the first one, analysis of the existing situation. The first step in policy formulation is understanding the current educational landscape or educational situation, right? It involves identifying key issues, challenges, and gaps in the education system. Surveys, research studies, and statistical data are useful to assess educational needs. Inputs from teachers, students, parents, and administrators help provide a comprehensive understanding of the situation. The generation of policy options. Various policy alternatives are explored to address identified issues. Experts, policymakers, and stakeholders, including educators and community leaders, are consulted. Different models and approaches are analyzed to determine the best solutions. International best practices are also studied to derive effective strategies. Then, evaluation of policy options. Each proposed policy option is assessed based on feasibility, impact, and cost effectiveness. Pilot studies and experimental programs may be conducted to evaluate their practicality. The strengths and weaknesses of different options are analyzed before finalizing a policy. Ethical considerations, social impact, and long term sustainability are taken into account. The fourth point will be making the policy decision. This is the fourth stage in policy implementation. Fourth stage, making the policy decision. Once a suitable policy option is identified, it undergoes government approval and legislative procedures. The policy is presented in governmental forums for discussion and modification if necessary. Public engagement and consultations are carried out to ensure inclusivity. Official documents are drafted and necessary legal frameworks are established. Then planning policy implementation. This is the fifth stage in policy implementation. Planning policy implementation. A clear implementation plan is developed outlining roles, responsibilities, and required resources. Funding allocation, infrastructure development, and capacity building are planned. Then timelines are set for different phases of implementation. Monitoring and evaluation criteria are established to track progress and effectiveness. Then policy impact assessment and subsequent policy cycles. Policies are continuously monitored to assess their impact on the education system. Feedback from students, teachers, and administrators is collected to understand practical challenges. If necessary, policies are revised or modified to enhance effectiveness. Education policies go through multiple cycles of assessment, refinement, and re-implementation to stay relevant. In conclusion, what points you can give? A well-defined policy formulation process ensures that educational policies remain dynamic and responsive to societal needs. By incorporating research, stakeholder involvement, systematic evaluation, and continuous assessment, the education system can evolve effectively. This structural approach helps in achieving educational goals and fostering national development through quality education. So I am giving you the summary form for your memory. This is for your practice also. You write down all this and then write it for yourself. Expand these points. That way you can have a very nice practice before the exam. Explain the process of policy formulation in education. I have given only the summary of the above answer. Right? Policy formulation education is a structured process involving various stages from analyzing the existing situation to policy evaluation and refinement. In the main body, what ideas you can give? Analysis of the existing situation, identifying educational needs and challenges. You can expand that. After putting that into your mind, you can expand. Conducting surveys and research. Then generation of policy options, exploring different policy approaches, consulting experts and stakeholders. Then the evaluation of policy options, assessing feasibility, impact and cost effectiveness, conducting pilot studies, expand these points. Then making the policy decision, government approval and legislative procedures, engaging the public and stakeholders. So these points could be expanded. Then planning policy implementation, allocating resources and defining roles, setting timelines and evaluation criteria. Okay, these points could be there in the planning policy implementation, allocating resources and defining goals, seeing timelines and evaluation criteria. Then policy impact assessment and subsequent policy cycles, monitoring policy effectiveness, making revisions based on feedback, monitoring policy effectiveness, making revisions based on feedback, etc. Right? That is, as concluding remark, we can say this. A structured policy formulation process ensures that educational policies remain effective and adaptable to changing needs. I hope you understood this, a very important question also. So, what is the question? Once again, we just see, recapitulate. Yeah, that is another the old question. Evaluating the importance of policy impact assessment and subsequent policy cycle in education. That is what we were doing just now. Is it so? Right. Your summary form you already given, yes. For fourth question, very sorry, I am confused. Fourth answer is over. Fourth descriptive answer as well as summary answer is over. Now we are going for the fifth one. Evaluate the importance of policy impact assessment and subsequent policy cycles in education. So education policies play a crucial role in shaping the learning environment, student outcomes, and overall social progress. However, for these policies to remain effective, they must be regularly assessed and refined. Policy impact assessment is a systematic process that evaluates the effectiveness of educational policies and their impact on stakeholders. Moreover, continuous policy cycles ensure that these policies evolve with the changing needs, technological advancements, and societal expectations. Now, in this, we will be discussing on the definition and need for privacy impact assessment. In this particular essay, policy impact assessment refers to the process of systematically evaluating whether an educational policy has met its intended objectives. It serves several purposes, of course. This impact assessment, policy impact assessment refers to the process of systematically evaluating whether an educational policy has met its intended objectives. It evaluates the success of educational policies. By measuring the outcomes of a policy, policymakers can determine if it has achieved its goals, identifies gaps and areas for improvement. Through data collection and analysis, shortcomings in the policy can be identified, helping to refine and enhance future strategies. Then it ensures accountability. Regular assessments promote transparency and hold the educational authorities responsible for policy implementation. Guides evidence-based decision making. It provides empirical evidence to support modifications in policy framework. So it provides empirical evidence to support modifications in policy frameworks. Then key methods of policy impact assessment. What are the key methods? Policy impact assessment implies various methods to evaluate the effectiveness of educational initiatives. These methods include quantitative methods and qualitative methods. Now, what is quantitative method? That is examining statistical data on subject performance, enrollment rates, and resource allocation. Then surveys and questionnaires, collecting feedback from students, parents, teachers regarding policy effectiveness. The qualitative method, what are the qualitative methods for this? Case studies, analyzing specific educational institutions or regions to understand the broader impact of a policy. Interviews and feedback, another study, analysis, gathering insight from educators and stakeholders to assess strengths and weaknesses in policy implementation. What are the challenges in policy assessment? Despite its importance, founding an effective policy impact assessment comes with several challenges. Lack of reliable data, inadequate or inconsistent data collection methods can hinder accurate policy evaluation. The resistance to policy changes. Teachers, administrators, and other stakeholders may resist the modification due to uncertainty or increased workload. Then limited funding and resources. Proper evaluation requires sufficient financial and human resources, which may not always be available. Then political and bureaucratic barriers, another type of barriers. Policy assessments may be influenced by political interest, delaying necessary reforms. Then subsequent policy cycles. After assessing the impact of policies, continuous improvement is necessary through subsequent policy cycles. So these cycles involve policy revision. Based on assessment findings, policies are modified to address inefficiencies and improve outcomes. Then adaptation to new trends. Educational policies must incorporate technological advancements, social changes, and evolving pedagogical practices. That is adaptation. Then sustained monitoring. Regular tracking ensures policies will remain effective in the long run and continue to meet educational goals. Then stakeholder engagement. Collaboration with teachers, students, and policymakers helps refine policies for better implementation. What are the examples of policy impact assessment in action? NEP 2020 monitoring, the National Education Policy 2020 undergoes a regular assessment to ensure its successful implementation across different states and institutions in India. Of course, the National Education Policy undergoes a regular assessment all over India. Then OECD Education Policy Reviews. What does this mean? The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. This is an organization. It evaluates global education policies, providing recommendations for improvement based on international best practices. Right to Education Act, RTE. So, periodic reviews assess the effectiveness of RTE Act in ensuring universal primary education. This can be in the concluding remark. Yes. Policy impact assessment and subsequent policy cycles are essential for maintaining a dynamic and effective educational system. Regular evaluations ensure that policies align with evolving educational needs, technological advancement, and societal changes. By implementing a structured assessment framework, educational institutions can foster continuous improvement, ensuring high quality learning experiences for all students. Thus, a well monitored policy system is available, yes, contributes significantly to national development and global competitiveness in education. As summary, we can give this, okay. Evaluate the importance of policy impact assessment and subsequent policy cycles in education. So the policy impact assessment and continuous policy cycles ensure that educational policies remain relevant and effective in achieving their intended goals. What should be in the main body, main portion of the essay? Definition and need for policy impact assessment. It evaluates the success of educational policies, identifies the gaps and areas for improvement. Now, key methods of policy impact assessment. Quantitative and qualitative methods. Quantitative means data analysis surveys. Qualitative means case studies, feedback, analysis, etc. Now, challenges in policy assessment. Lack of reliable data, resistant to policy changes. This could be part of this essay, yes. Subsequent policy cycle, policy revision, modifying policies based on assessment findings. Adaptation to new trends, incorporating technological and social changes. The sustained monitoring, continuous tracking for long-term effectiveness. Now, what can be the examples for this, you know, this policy formulation, policy impact assessment? Regular updates to ensure successful implementation needed. NEP 2020 monitoring. OECD education policy reviews, analysis of global educational policies. So, policy impact assessment and revision cycles are critical for maintaining a dynamic and effective educational system. So, let us ask some higher order questions. Yeah, analysis questions. How do policies shape the education system and what factors influence the relationship between policies and education? I think this is the next question. Sorry, the afternoon I am getting tired. I think. Never mind. So it's another question. Actually, it's a higher order question. So far we are having memory-based and understanding-based question. This is higher order question. So in a way, it is an analysis question. Higher order question, analysis question. What type of question? See the words, how it comes as the analysis question. How do policies shape the education system? And what factors influence the relationship between policies and education? Education is the foundation of a nation's progress, and policies play a crucial role in shaping the education system. Policies define the structure, curriculum, teaching methodologies, and evaluation methods of an education system. They ensure that education is accessible, equitable, and aligned with the national goals of development. However, the relationship between policies and education is influenced by various factors such as social, economic, political, and technological conditions. So, this descriptive answer explores how policies shape the education system and the key factors that influence this relationship. What is the role of policies in shaping the education system? Defining educational objectives. Education policies set clear goals for what students should learn at different levels. They establish learning outcomes, skill development strategies, and knowledge benchmarks that guide educators in teaching and curriculum design. Secondly, ensuring equal access to education. We are talking about the role of policies in shaping the education system, right? Then ensuring equal access to education. That is the role of educational policy, right? Ensuring equal access to education. Policies aim to provide inclusive education for all, regardless of gender, socioeconomic background, or disabilities. Government initiatives such as scholarships, free education programs, and special provisions for marginalized groups help to bridge educational gaps. Then curriculum development and standardization. A well-defined curriculum is a product of educational policies. Policies determine the subjects taught, the integration of modern skills, and the inclusion of cultural and national values. This ensures that students receive a balanced and relevant education. Then regulating teacher training and qualification. So we are evaluating how education policy has an impact on education. That's what we are doing now. Regulating teacher training and qualification. Policies establish guidelines for teacher education, programs, certification requirements, and continuous professional development. This ensures that teachers are well qualified, competent, and updated with the latest teaching methodologies. Then assessment and evaluation methods, another point. Educational policies outline the methods of assessing student learning. Policies help design examinations, grading systems, and alternative assessment methods that align with the learning objectives and overall educational vision. Integration of technology in education. Modern education policies emphasize the use of digital tools, e-learning platforms, and smart classrooms. This helps improve the quality of education by making learning more interactive, joyful, and accessible. Now, what are the factors influencing the relationship between policies and education? Political influence. The government plays a major role in shaping political policies, political stability, leadership priorities, and policy continuity impact the effectiveness of educational reforms. Yes, policy changes often reflect the ideologies and vision of ruling governments. Then economic factors, the availability of financial resources determines the successful implementation of educational policies. Countries with higher education budgets can invest in infrastructure, teacher salaries, technology, and research, improving the quality of education. Then socio-cultural factors. Education policies must align with the social and cultural values of a nation. Societal attitudes toward gender equality, language, and traditions influence policy formulation and implementation. Then technological advancements. The rapid growth of technology has a strong impact on education policies. Government must integrate digital tools, artificial intelligence, and online learning methods to ensure that education remains relevant in the modern era. Then globalization and international trends. Many educational policies are influenced by global education standards and frameworks, international frameworks, yes. So Many educational policies are influenced by global education standards and frameworks. Then international organizations such as UNESCO, UNICEF advocate for quality education influencing national policies. Then stakeholder participation. Stakeholder means parents, experts, whoever is interested in the education of the children. They are all stakeholders. The stakeholder participation. Policymakers must consider the views of students, teachers, parents, and education experts while drafting policies. Their involvement ensures that policies meet the needs of learners and educators effectively. So, what could you give us the concluding remark for this question? Education policies shape the foundation of an effective learning system. They define objectives, ensure accessibility, regulate behavior training, teacher training, and integrate technology into education. However, the success of these policies depends on various influencing factors such as political stability, economic conditions, cultural norms, and technological progress, and international trends that is also there. A well structured policy framework can help build a strong education system that empowers individuals and contributes to national development. Therefore, continuous policy formulation and adaptations are necessary to meet the changing needs of society and learners. Now, so far we were giving only one question, that is for higher order question, analyze. So, the question, just to see the question, how we have answered, have a reflection on this, and then formulate your own ideas based on this. Finally, you have to write it down, and that's more important actually. Of course, so many points are there. Not necessarily you must write everything, but at least a subheading with 1 or 2 points. This is how you must develop your answer. Of course, a long answer anyway. Right. So, what is the question? How do policies shape the education system, and what factors influence the relationship between policies and education? So, two things are put together here. This is how evaluative question will come. Normally, not only one, they will some or other unite 2 or 3 topics and ask one question in the most reflective manner or in the most creative manner. So you must be ready for that. That's why you must study separately. For an example, how factors influence education, you just study separately and take down certain points, and then you link it with the factors, right? So that's it. What is the link between policy and education and what factors, right? So two different questions are put together here, and you should be able to understand this, and accordingly you must give the answers. Not every point you should give, no, not needed. But then very important ideas you must keep in mind, and then fuse them together. That is called what you call a critical question or higher order question. So that is coming in the paper 2, that is part B of paper 2, all higher order questions. So it will be like this only. So please go through it again and again. At least the questions you go through it again and again. See for yourself how they are formulating the questions. Not necessarily this question comes, but any other question will be coming, but this type will be coming. That is the idea I am giving you. So be ready for that. Okay. Now we go for the second question. Only 3 questions I am giving in each unit, in each part. On the whole, 10 questions, 10 to 12 questions I will be giving for the entire unit. Please go through that. All the answers you will be able to write based on this. I am absolutely sure about it. Right. So we go for the second question. Yeah, this is synthesis question. We were talking about analysis question. I think 2 or 3 ideas were put together and they were asking one question. How synthesis question can be formulated in the same unit? Not how can educational policies be designed to support national development, and what role do different sectors play in the process? How they are fusing them together. So you can even write about modern education, right? You can combine those ideas with the ideas, which you have, in our modern education. So that way you can fuse them together and give a creative answer when synthesis questions come. Now, what is the question? How can educational policies be designed to support national development, and what role do different sectors play in this process? So, this is how I am giving the answer. Only a model, yes. Education plays a crucial role in the progress of a nation. A well planned educational policy can shape the future of a country by developing human resources, promoting social equity, and driving economic growth. Educational policies should be designed to meet national goals and address the specific needs of society. Various sectors, including the government, private institutions, industries, and civil society, must work together to implement these policies effectively. These points we already given. I'm just giving you the model, that's all. That's why I'm going very fast. What are the key aspects of educational policies for national development? Alignment with the national goals. The educational policies should be designed in accordance with the national vision and development plans. They should aim to eradicate illiteracy, improve higher education, and enhance research and innovation. Policies must focus on equipping students with skills that match the needs of the country's economic and social growth. Then promoting inclusive and equitable education. Education should be accessible to all, irrespective of socio-economic status, gender, or location. Policies should include scholarships, free schooling, and digital education initiatives to bridge the learning gap between rural and urban areas. Special attention should be given to marginalized communities to ensure equal opportunities. Now, third point, skill development and vocational training. National development depends on a skilled workforce. Educational policies should integrate skill-based training in schools and colleges. Vocational education should be encouraged to provide employment opportunities to students who do not pursue higher education. Collaboration with industries can help design job-oriented courses. The fourth point will be research and innovation. Investment in research and development is essential for technological and economic progress. Policies should support universities and institutions in conducting research that addresses national and global challenges. Encouraging entrepreneurship through education will create new job opportunities and economic growth. Use of technology in education. Digital transformation is crucial in modern education. Policies should promote e-learning, smart classrooms, and digital libraries. Technology can make education accessible to remote areas, ensuring that no student is left behind. Government and private partnership can help expand digital infrastructure in schools and colleges. The sixth point will be teacher training and development. The quality of education depends on teachers. Policies should focus on continuous professional development, teacher training programs, and incentives for educators. A well trained teacher can provide better learning experiences, shaping students into responsible citizens. Now we are going for the role of different sectors in educational development. This is how they have fused together two different things actually. Some or other you must be able to fuse them together. That is called a synthesis question. Now, what is the role of different sectors in educational development? Government sector. The government is responsible for formulating and implementing educational policies. It should allocate sufficient funds, ensure infrastructure development, and regulate the quality of education. Government initiatives like the Right to Education Act, National Education Policy (NEP) are crucial in shaping the education system. Then private sector. Private institutions play a vital role in supplementing public education. They offer quality education, introduce innovative teaching methods, and help in skill development. Collaboration between the government and private sector can enhance educational access and quality. Then industrial sector, another sector, yes. Industries contribute by investing in skill development programs, research, and employment-oriented education. Many companies establish training centers and scholarships to support students in acquiring technical expertise. The industry academia partnership is essential for bridging the gap between education and employment. The non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and civil society. NGOs help in promoting literacy, especially in underprivileged areas. They run awareness programs provide free study materials, and support schools in rural regions. Civil society plays a role in advocating for policy reforms and ensuring accountability in the education sector. So these points we are given, we are fused to two different areas into one, and then we have given our own ideas into it. This is how you should formulate the answers when synthesis questions are asked. This is the model I am just giving you. I request you to go through the subheadings. Take down the subheading and write it for yourself. Put your own words under each subheading. That way, you will be satisfied with your preparation. God bless you. Anyway, right. We'll go for the conclusion part, of course. A well-structured educational policy is the backbone of national development. You should focus on inclusive education, skill development, research, and integration of technology. The collaboration between government, private sector, industries, and NGOs is essential for effective policy implementation. Education empowers individuals, fosters economic growth, and strengthens a nation. By designing effective educational policies, a country can ensure sustainable development and a prosperous future. So this is how we are given one evaluation. Now we are going for the third one. It's a third evaluation question. Yes. So far we are given analysis, synthesis question we are given. Just now we are given the synthesis question. Now finally we are going for evaluation question. How evaluation will be done? Normally they will ask you a particular topic from the syllabus, and then they will ask you to link it with the modern education. Normally evaluation questions will be like all the implications of a particular education committee or any unit for that matter, implication will be normally under this question, evaluation question. So along with the points you are giving under that particular topic, and you must give how that particular topic is linked with modern education. This is how you must be writing in the evaluation questions. So implication is very important in the evaluation question. How effective is the process of policy formulation in ensuring that the educational policies achieve their intended goals? This is the question. You see that it's very difficult to understand sometimes. The evaluation question, you have to see it again and again. At least twice you have to read and then get the correct sense of it, right? How effective is the process of policy formulation? Once again, what is effectiveness? Implication. So normally implication will be asked in ensuring that educational policies achieve their intended goals. Education plays a crucial role in shaping individuals and societies. Governments formulate educational policies to improve the quality and accessibility of education. However, the effectiveness of these policies depends on how well they are formulated and implemented. A well-designated policy should address the needs of students, teachers, and institutions while promoting national development. This descriptive answer explores the effectiveness of the policy formulation process in achieving educational goals. In other words, what is the impact of policy on the educational goals? You must understand it some way or other. The words will be very different, sometimes abstract, but you must see the relevance. I mean, they will be combining two or three, and what is it exactly you must find out in evaluation question. So he just see that this descriptive answer talks about the effectiveness of the policy formulation process in achieving educational goals. In other words, what is the link between, or what is the impact of formulation of policy on the educational goals which we have envisaged in India. So that way you have to arrange your answer. So the importance of policy formulation in education. Policy formulation is the process of designing strategies to improve education based on research, societal needs, and government priorities. Effective educational policies help in enhancing learning outcomes, promoting equal opportunities for education, addressing the needs of disadvantaged groups, aligning education with the national development goals, right? So the success of a policy depends on its ability to translate vision, translate vision into practical implementation. So the policy should be implemented in practical terms. That is the link. I hope you understood this question. A well-structured policy leads to long-term improvements in the education system. Factors that ensure effective policy formulation. Several factors contribute to making policy formulation effective in achieving educational goals. Research-based approach. Policy should be based on thorough research and data analysis. Understanding current educational challenges helps in designing realistic and achievable goals. Then stakeholder involvement. Input from teachers, students, parents, and policymakers ensures that the policy is practical and inclusive. Then collaboration between government agencies, non-governmental organizations, and academic experts enhances the quality of policies. Third point, clear objectives and strategy. This is how we link policy, and the realization of the educational goal. This is how we link clear objectives and strategies in order to attain our goals, right? So, policies should have clear, measurable, and time bound objectives. Strategies for implementation should be well defined to ensure smooth execution. Then, financial and institutional support. Adequate funding is essential for successful policy implementation. Strong institutional frameworks help in managing and monitoring policy progress. Then, flexibility and adaptability, another point. Policy should be flexible enough to accommodate changing educational needs. Regular assessments and modifications improve the effectiveness of policies. What are the challenges in policy formulation? Despite the structured approach, policy formulation faces several challenges. Lack of proper implementation. Even well formulated policies may fail due to poor execution and lack of resources. Then, political and bureaucratic hurdles. Changes in government policies may disrupt the continuity of educational reforms. Then, resistance to change. Teachers, administrators, and communities may resist new policies due to lack of awareness of training. Then, inequality in education. Policies often fail to bridge the gap between urban and rural education systems. Now, what are the measures to improve policy effectiveness? To ensure that educational policies achieve their intended goals, the following measures can be adopted. What recommendations you can give in order to bridge the gap between educational policy and the realization of the educational goals? That is the idea here. What are the recommendations or what are the suggestions? What are the measures to improve policy effectiveness? Strengthening monitoring and evaluation. Regular assessment helps in identifying gaps and making necessary adjustments. Then increasing stakeholder participation. Encouraging active involvement of all stakeholders improves policy acceptance and implementation. Ensuring transparency and accountability. Proper documentation and reporting of policy outcomes enhance trust and efficiency. Utilizing technology. Digital tools can help in tracking policy progress and improving education delivery. As concluding remarks, what can you give? The process of policy formulation plays a significant role in achieving educational goals. While well-designated policies or well-designed policies contribute to educational progress, challenges in implementation often hinder their success. So, a research-driven, inclusive, and adaptable approach can enhance the effectiveness of educational policies. Governments and stakeholders must work together to ensure that policies not only exist on paper but also bring meaningful change to the education system. Through continuous monitoring and improvements, educational policies can successfully achieve their intended objectives and contribute to the nation's overall development. I think part B is over now. See, do you understand the plan with which I am doing this? First, I am giving you memory-based questions, some 10 or 8 or 10, and a few questions on critical questions. I am giving critical questions in the second part, in the beginning itself. I think you must understand. So, very relevant, most important questions I try to give, yes. After that, I give you descriptive answers for memory based, understanding based aspects, right? That is what is given in paper 1 part 2B. Memory based, understanding based, descriptive answer. I am giving that under this topic, right? Then after that, for second paper, and especially for part B of second paper, critical questions are analyzed, isn't it? So I am giving you three, four, five, as the need arises, I am giving you three or four critical or higher order thinking skills, higher order questions, in other words, higher order thinking skill questions or higher order questions I am giving you. So this is how I am preparing you for PGTRB exam, right? Kindly go through all this. Of course, I will be giving you what you call this question bank, right? Question bank also I will be giving. I will be giving separately that also, and all the important questions will be given there. Plus GK I have prepared. I have started giving, but I have stopped at the moment. But I will start it again. No, I will start giving it again soon, right? So GK I am giving, and also part B in paper 1 part B I am giving. In entire paper 2 I am giving, right? Education entire paper 2 I am giving. So all 50 critical questions I am giving you, as well as part B critical questions for descriptive answers, that also I am giving. Of course, these are all models. Not necessarily you must memorize all this, but based on these points, you can write down for yourself. Consider them as test. Take down only the question and subheadings, and then supply your own answer in it. So that is the best way of preparing for PGTRB. I hope so. So what I am trying to do is giving models. What type of questions could be you could be getting, right? And how you could approach with the different paragraphs, introduction, conclusion, what are the most important ideas in each topic. Those things I am giving you. But you have to cut it short. You have to make it relevant for you, according to your taste, according to your style of writing. So I appeal to you. Take this as a model, and then supply your own answer for all the subheadings I have given you. I am sure you will be winning in this exam. You will get through in this exam so wonderfully. I am absolutely sure about it. I try my best to give everything in so short a time. Within 1 month, I will be able to give all the questions relevant for you, all the questions which you need, and the answers are also right. So God bless you abundantly. Let us meet in other video lectures. I mean, part C is remaining, part D is remaining. Soon I will be giving. Tamil also separately I will be giving. The same thing will be given in Tamil also. So most welcome to watch my video and benefit out of that. I really feel very happy to see that so many of you are coming to my videos and then watch them. I'm so happy because these things something new. I don't think that anybody has tried out. I don't know. Very boldly I have started doing this. So far no one has done this. I suppose this giving the answers as such. I don't see anywhere. But then I want to give it to you. Of course, it's a painful thing, not easy. You have to prepare. You have to edit it. You have to upload it. All these things are time consuming, no doubt. But I want to do it for your sake. For your own victory, I want to do it. I want to sacrifice my time and energy. I'm sure that's a real happiness for me. My happiness is that you get through in this PGTRB exam and become assistant professor and great professors later on in the universities. God bless you abundantly.